What's up, world? It's your boy Kelvin coming at you. Salute to everybody, man. Hope y'all doing well out there today. All right, let's talk about this story. David Falk, agent of Michael Jordan, been in the news because he gave his opinion about the GOAT debate. This tiresome GOAT debate. Who's the greatest player? Who's in the top 5? Who's the top 10? And of course, when these media people ask these questions and they don't get the answer that they want, then they want to whine and cry and write articles talking about disrespect when it's just someone's personal opinion. But neither here nor there. Let's get to the article. I'm going to read what David Falk said. This is courtesy of Yahoo Sports. The title reads, Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, disrespects LeBron in all-time rankings. Whatever, but okay. Michael Jordan's longtime agent, David Falk, stirred controversy at the SBJ's 4SE conference in Manhattan this week when he took a not-so-subtle jab at LeBron James during a fury of Q&A session. Falk, who has long been considered one of the most influential agents in sports history, didn't hold back when asked about his all-time NBA rankings, and his comments instantly made waves in the basketball world. I'm sure it did. To no one's surprise, Falk named Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time. But what truly caught everyone's attention was what came next. When asked who ranked second on his GOAT list, Falk responded with either Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Kobe Bryant, noticeably leaving LeBron off the top tier. When pushed back further about whether LeBron even cracks his top 10, Falk replied, probably, before delivering what quickly became the quote of the day. That's read the quote of the day. I really like LeBron, but I think if Jordan had cherry-picked what teams he wanted to be on and 2 other superstars, he would have won 15 championships. Wow, 15. It says, it is a stinging critique that echoes what many old school basketball purists have long argued, that LeBron James' career has been shaped by his own hand-picked super teams, from Miami to Cleveland to Los Angeles. Yet this perspective ignores the different eras and the vastly different levels of organizational support that shape each superstar's path. Stop right there. It's funny when they hear something they don't like, then all of a sudden, well, let's talk about the eras. They talk about context and how teams were formed and built back then. And all of a sudden, when they hear something they don't want to hear, now they want to have context. But when you saying BS about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, and oh man, he only beat this team is old, and all these different stuff they come up with when they criticize Michael Jordan, y'all don't want to take in no context. Now all of a sudden, well, hold up now, David Falk. Let's have some context of what you're talking about. Yeah, whatever. Falk's comments are sharp and reflective of a deeply entrenched loyalty to Jordan. While his critique of LeBron may resonate with some traditionalists, it also overlooks the complexities of career context, team building, and longevity. See what I'm saying? The GOAT debate may never be settled, but dismissing LeBron as a probable top 10 player feels like less analysis and more like an agenda. End quote. I'm going to stop it right there as far as that article. If you want to read the full article, you can go to Yahoo Sports. And, the quote is everywhere. You can read it for yourself. Now, before I continue, of course, they had to talk about it on First Take. And Stephen A. Smith had to give his opinion and stuff like that. So, let's listen to Stephen A. Smith. And when it's done, I will come back and give my final thoughts.
Stephen A., your reaction.
He was at a business conference, but obviously the cameras are rolling, microphones are on. I think it was an unnecessary shot at LeBron James. And I also think that it was a bit excessive because LeBron James is one of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of basketball. When people bring up top 5, top 10, now you are getting insulting. There are not 3 players, 4 players in NBA history better than LeBron James. That is a lie, okay? And David Falk knows that. Having said that, he ain't lying about the comparison to Jordan. If Jordan had picked to assemble a super team, you damn right he would have won about 10 titles, if not more. That's absolutely true. But that's not what Jordan did. And in the end, what LeBron is going to have to live with is the fact that you joined Miami for your first 2 titles. You went back to Cleveland, but there was Kyrie Irving, and the team was compelled to acquire Kevin Love, which obviously helped you. And then when you went to Los Angeles, you obviously got Anthony Davis. And so people are going to look at that and judge him accordingly, as opposed to somebody that stayed with one team, built it, won there first, last, and always. And that's going to be, in some people's eyes anyway, a blemish. I have no problem with that if the comparison is against Jordan. I do have a problem with it if you then try to look at LeBron and try to act like he's barely scratching the top 10 or whatever. LeBron James, in my estimation, is one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball. And if you want to drop him to 3 because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's resume, which is impeccable and beats because he's won on every level, I get that part. But LeBron James, to me, is top 2 all time. I don't want to hear top 5, don't want to hear top 10.
All right, good people. That is Stephen A. Smith. Gave his take about Agent David Faulk and his GOAT debate takes. And Stephen A. Smith is a funny guy because he's supposed to be this Jordan guy, right? And he ended up sounding just like LeBron fans, you know. He'd be debating Shannon Sharp and other LeBron fans and stuff like that. But on this video clip we all just watched, he sounded just like LeBron fans. Oh, man, worse, man, you know. At number 3 is the absolute worst. You want to say Kareem? Maybe, you know, Kareem won on all 3 levels, but no lower than 3. If you start talking about top 5, top 10, you tripping, man. You don't know basketball. You tripping, man. You know what I'm saying? You sound just like LeBron fans. You sound just like them. But I want to put something on the screen for you. I want y'all to look at this right here. And what this is the word subjective. And I'm going to read it to you. So if there's any younger fans that see this video, they'll have a clear understanding of what the word subjective means, okay? The definition of subjective. Subjective means based on or influenced by personal feelings. Emphasis on the word personal, okay? Influenced by personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. A subjective perspective can also be called a personal perspective or an individual point of view. Subjective views do not have to be provable or grounded in fact, though they may incorporate facts. End of definition for the word subjective. So, David Faulk, what he gave as far as the GOAT debate, he gave his subjective opinion, his subjective point of view as far as the GOAT debate and what he values on his personal GOAT list. And when someone gives their subjective opinion, they cannot be wrong. It is just their opinion. An opinion has no right or wrong answer. Okay, so you're doing these debates, people, I don't really do debates no more, but when you have debate, you can't tell nobody that they're wrong. It don't matter what they say. You know, GOAT debates are not based in facts. GOAT lists and GOAT debates are just all subjective opinions. Yes, you can base your opinion off some facts, you know, points and averages and assists and steals or whatever, advanced stats that you want to. Like it says, you can incorporate some facts into your personal subjective opinion, but it is still an opinion. And it's no right or wrong answer. So David Faulk, what he's saying is he values traditional, old school, natural winning. No super teams. And I personally agree with him. That is how I think. David Faulk, first off, you know, these newspaper writers, these bloggers or whatever, I don't understand. Why do you even bother the guy and ask him the question about the GOAT debate? First off, he's an agent of Michael Jordan. What do you think he's going to say? You think he's going to say LeBron's the GOAT? No, he's not. But you ask this guy these questions, the GOAT debate, you know what the answer's going to be. You know it's not going to be favorable for LeBron, but then you want to whine and cry talking about disrespect. Why even bother the guy about a GOAT debate question? Because you know what he's going to say. But anyway, David Falk, he's basing his opinion or whatever, subjective opinion on old school, traditional, natural winning. And I agree with him. And when I do lists, and I've done a list before, I also value natural winning. And the problem with LeBron James and even Stephen A. Smith on this video clip we just watched, what he just said, he even said that's going to always be a knock on LeBron James' career. LeBron James, to this day, in year 22, has never proven that he can win with a naturally constructed team. Never. He has not. Every time he's won a championship, been with a super team or with the Lakers that bubble, he colluded with his agent to get Anthony Davis. LeBron James has never won the natural right way. He has never proven that he can win a natural old school championship. So that's always going to be a knock on him with older fans and old school players and stuff like that. I am not surprised. It's no surprise to me that David Falk has these thoughts and ideas. First off, he's older. He's from a previous era. He's not going to have the mindset of a young fan, a young agent that's really in the business today. So let me say this, man, and this is very important when it comes to Michael Jordan. Of course, we know Michael Jordan. When you go back and look at his career, the talent was there, transcendent, great talent. But what made Michael Jordan so relatable to people, other than the talent, it was the storybook career that he had. How his career panned out, it was very, very relatable to the common American person in society during that time. Michael Jordan started out at the bottom. When he got drafted to the Bulls were a bad team. If you go back, and look at some of them highlight, if you find some of them early games, you can find a few on YouTube. Some of them early games in '84, early '85, his rookie year, when the stadium, Chicago Stadium, was like half full, and before he really blew up. Later on his rookie year, he kind of blew up and people start coming. But the early days, nobody there, stadium half empty. And Michael Jordan's story and his journey to the top was very relatable to the common American during that time period. And that's the reason why so many people gravitated towards him. He started out at the bottom, and over time, he had his journey. He had to take his lumps of losing to the Celtics early on, and then going through the fire to the Detroit Pistons those 3 years, getting beat up, and then he finally got to the top. And so people during that time, young and old, it was very relatable because that's how American values, that's how American society was at that time. LeBron James, today, his last 10, 15 years, when he went to Miami and stuff like that, he is the face of America and youth today, the young people. They don't care nothing about hard work. They cool with taking shortcuts, and they don't care how they get to the top. And when they get to the top, well, they have to tear down and trash to get to the top and use to get there, and then they trash them. They cool with that. That's how LeBron fans are. They cool with that. They trash Kevin Love. They trash Kyrie Irving and all his teammates who helped him. But Michael Jordan didn't do that. He took the long, hard road, and that was more relatable to Americans at that time. And those values that me as a youth during that time and older fans at that time, it was very relatable. And it can use that, you can relate that to everyday life. You had a business, you starting out at the bottom, it's gonna be a struggle, but over time you build up your business to become a successful business. If you got a new job fresh out of college, you starting out at the bottom, and over time you work your way up through this company, and one day, 5-10 years down the line, you're at the top of the company, you're a CEO or whatever. That's how Michael Jordan, his career panned out, and it's very relatable. And Michael Jordan's career was very relatable to non-basketball people, non-sports people. I'm gonna say this, and I remember this, and I'm always gonna remember this to the day I die. I remember the day Michael Jordan won his first championship. I never forget. I told you guys before, when I was young, I played baseball. I was a baseball player. And on that day, I was at a baseball game, the game was over. And as I was leaving, during that time, they had these little portable TVs, right? These TVs you can put batteries in, it was very small, and you raise the antenna and you can watch TV. So it was these women, I believe they were parents of some of the kids that was playing baseball. They had the Bulls game on. And this was game 5, and as the Bulls are closing out the series and winning the championship, everybody was gathered around this little TV to watch Michael Jordan win his first championship. And as Michael Jordan's in the locker room, and Bob Costas interviewing him, and he got his wife and his dad, and the iconic picture, when he holding the trophy and he's crying and stuff like that, it really touched people. It touched these women. I remember watching these women and stuff that were not sports fans. It touched them. They were very happy. You heard me say it, you heard JB say it on previous videos on our channel. When Michael Jordan won his first championship, there was joy around America. Even if you wasn't a Chicago Bulls fan, you were very, very happy. It was joy and it was celebration around Michael Jordan. Why? Because everyone has seen the journey where he came from to get to the top. It was a hard, painful road to get there. He had to go through a lot those 7 years before he finally won the championship. Everyone's seen the journey from the half-empty stadiums to losing, to going through Detroit, getting beat up by Detroit for 3 years, and finally overcoming. Michael Jordan never quit. That's the reason why his story and his career, it resonated with people and fans even till today. Michael Jordan took the long, hard road to the top. That's the reason why his legacy and the reason why he's talked about today. Because he did it the right way. I speak about this and I've said it on previous videos. Even when it comes to Steph Curry, a guy I like, the importance of staying with the journey and winning the right way. It's going to help you later on in life when people look back on your career. That's the reason why Michael Jordan ain't got to say nothing about his career. He be chilling. I know he heard the Nick Wrights and people and stuff taking shots at him, but he is secure in his legacy because he took no shortcuts in his journey to get to the top. And as far as LeBron James, as he's winding down his career and he begins to exit the game and move on with his life, when people go back and evaluate his career, not only you're going to hear younger fans, you're going to hear a lot of more older fans and older players, who didn't say much when LeBron was playing because they didn't want no drama and stuff like that. You're going to hear more of them speaking about LeBron forming super teams and taking shortcuts. You heard Dr. J. Dr. J said he didn't have him in his top 15 because he formed super teams. You heard John Stockton take a little shot at LeBron. He said Michael Jordan took the hard road. He said LeBron James took the helicopter to the top. He said something to that effect, which means he took a shortcut, which means he don't respect it. And so, as LeBron is leaving, you're gonna hear more and more fans and older players and people from previous generations. Now that LeBron's gone and out the way, they don't need him for clicks and views. They don't need him for money. They don't need him for interviews and stuff like that. You're gonna start hearing more and more of the truth. And you're gonna see LeBron James' ranking go down, down, down on the list. Before it's up here, you know, Stephen A. Smith and media people try to lie. Oh man, at worst he could be top 3. You're gonna start hearing more of the truth as LeBron James exit the NBA. You're gonna hear more David Faulks and John Stocktons and Dr. J's and Dominique Wilkins and other old players. They're gonna start telling the truth about LeBron then. Oh man, y'all older fans, y'all heard me, JB. Oh man, y'all tripping, y'all just hate. Okay, you gonna find out. Y'all LeBron fans, y'all about to find out what people really feel and what they really think about LeBron's career as he leaves. And you're gonna see his rankings start to plummet. You're gonna see it. Now, before I go, because I think just like David Falk, and I don't have LeBron ranked high on my list either because he cheated the game, he shortcut the game. So I just wrote down just a handful of names of players that won at least one championship and got a great career, and they won their championship the right way, that I could make an argument that's better than LeBron James. Just because they won the right way. Let me read through these names. I know some of y'all get mad. Ah, man, you tripping, man. Nah, these names right here are people who got great careers, players that had great careers, and who won the right way. They got at least one title, won the right way. And you can make an argument because they got their one title and they done it the hard way. You can put them over LeBron James. Let's read through these names real quick. Michael Jordan, of course, way better. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Jerry West, Hakeem Olajuwon, Oscar Robertson, Moses Malone, Shaq, Dr. J, Steph Curry, John Havlicek, Bob Petty. I think there's 16, 17 names. I just, off the dome, I ain't looked nothing up. I just wrote it down. All those guys had great careers. And they got at least one championship. A lot of those guys, multiple championships. Won the right way. And you can make an argument all those guys are better than LeBron James. They got better careers. Don't care nothing about longevity. We never talked about longevity when we did debates in the past. So longevity, accumulative stats, I don't care nothing about that. It was always about winning and how you won and winning the right way. So those names of those guys I just read, you can make an argument. It's all subjective, people. Subjective opinion. And so David Falk has his subjective opinion. I have mine. And we think kind of alike. So yes, you can make an argument for many players to be over LeBron James. There is no right or wrong answer. It's all subjective. I'll catch y'all next time. I'm gone.